You're watching CCN, Clarksville Community Network. Produced by Goodwin Productions. Powered by CDE Light Band.
Welcome back to another episode of Locker Room Talk. My name is Bryce Robinson.
My name is Sam Howard.
My name is Chandler Kirton.
And today, it's been a while since we've done an episode, and we're kind of just going to recap the 2023 season and kind of like the highs and the lows. It's been one of the craziest seasons I've ever been a part of, but one of the best seasons I've ever been a part of, and these guys were able to go along with me and experience those moments. But kind of talk about, we're going to jump right into the first game of the year. We had played SIU, and it was kind of a wake-up call, don't you guys say? Like, kind of, wasn't our best game whatsoever,
Yeah, I think as a team, we were still trying to figure out who our guys were. Still trying to figure out whether or not like everyone was bought into the system, and really just trying to see like that game was more like I don't know, like you know how the spring game goes. You're trying to see like who's the guys are, but SIU kind of like they was just a tough team to play. I'm not gonna lie. For a first game,
yeah.
That's a tough team.
They
to
were
play.
a good team, Like, what'd you think? What'd you take
No,
away?
I definitely agree. I mean, coming out, it was just an old-fashioned whooping, pretty much. Just to come out in the first game, and there's high expectations from last year as well. So I mean, coming out and putting the performance we put out there, I mean, it wasn't our best work at all by far, but I mean.
Yeah, credit to them. They were a really good team. They were a tough team. They came out and with their head on fire. And it's always different. You go through fall camp you play each other every single day. You kind of get ready to play someone in a different colored uniform, and just coming out there and being able to play them week one, kind of like put us in shock and like, hey, we got to get our stuff together. We got to get ready to go because we got a long season. So we kind of took a lot away from that. We learned a lot, and we were able to move on to the next week because, week two, we went down to Knoxville, Tennessee and played Tennessee, which would have been the craziest environments I've ever been a part of my entire life. Like 100,000 plus people, you couldn't even hear yourself talk.
That game, we had some injuries on the O-line, and I ended up moving me to center, and I've never snapped a ball in a football game before. I mean, I've snapped a ball in practice and stuff like that, but I've never snapped a ball in a football game before. And doing it in front of 102,000 people is just the craziest thing, and it's really surreal. And especially like when you got to hear the clap and you got to snap the ball, and it just put more added pressure on you. But it was definitely a really cool experience.
I didn't believe that the environment was that bad until I believe it was third down, the first third down of the game. And all you hear is the over the intercom says, "It's third down," and the stadium just roars. Like all I feel like is like air clapping in my ears. So like, after the game, man, my head was like, I had the meanest headache ever. Migraine on the way back home, bro. It was so bad.
It was crazy because I think on our first drive, it's 4th and 1, and we're going for it. On the first drive, we went for it on 4th and 1. We're backed up on our own side of the field, and Coach Walden said, "No, we're going to go for it." Like that's just like to set the statement. And like I remember there's on the TV broadcast version of the game, there's a funny video of Jake. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not.
Yeah. Of
him trying to hear Coach Walden signal the play in, and he couldn't even hear him. Like Coach Walden was literally standing. Of course, they had the headsets on, but those things aren't working. All you hear is staticky because it's so loud. And if you watch the TV broadcast, like Coach Walden's standing right here, and Jake's like, "Coach, what'd you say, Coach?" Like, and Coach Walden's like just getting frustrated. You can see him like going up and down like that, and Jake's over there like freaking out. And he's over there freaking out. But luckily, we got the play in time, and they actually ended up spitting for like a 60-yard run. That kind of set the tone, I feel like, for the rest of the game. And we came out, and honestly, I feel like I think the final score was 13-30, I believe. I think we're 2 plays away from making it a 7-point game. So like I feel like that game kind of like helped us get our rhythm on both sides of the ball. Defense played their tails off. We kind of found our rhythm as an offense. Like showing that hey, we actually had belief that we come out and win this game. It was 6-13 at halftime, I believe. So I mean like. We're sitting here at halftime thinking that we're going to beat these guys, like they're just another team in another uniform. Credit to them. They're a big Power 5 school, and they have one of the best atmospheres in college football. But it was just like, that's like you playing in Bryant-Dennis Stadium, like for Alabama. For me, grew up a Tennessee fan. I kind of took in the crowd, like when we came out for warm-ups, and like there's like an hour before kickoff, and like the quarterbacks are the first ones on the field, and we're getting booed when we come out. I thought that was awesome. I love it was definitely cool. But something actually a funny story that happened before the game. I was on bus 2. You know, like how you pull it down into the stadium. Yeah. Our bus door wouldn't open. So like we're sitting there on the bus, like waiting on them to open the door. I couldn't get the door open. We got people on the outside trying to pull the bus door open. Like we're sitting here, like we got the message on our phones. Our quarterbacks go out in like 45 minutes. And I'm sitting here on the bus. I'm like, I ain't gonna make it out there. Like we saw all the way from bus 5. Like, you saw Gerald walk past us before we even got out the bus, dude. So I was like, this is gonna be a long day, boys. But it honestly turned out to be one of the coolest experiences I've ever been a part of. You know, so. Yeah,
games like that, man. That I love about games like that is when you're like beating that team, like the crowd just be quiet. Mm-hmm. Like you can, like you don't hear anything, and I love that. Like you're like, yeah, not cheer them on now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I love that, bro.
No, it's definitely an experience, and especially the first third down that we got. I mean, and fourth down with the long run. Yeah. I mean, I'm in there. I mean, you couldn't even hear the quarterback behind you. You're just sitting there like, don't mess us up, because, I mean, you don't know when to snap the football. Yeah. And if we bust a long run, and we're getting the drive going, and then I kind of ruined the drive because we run like a reverse, and I did the dumb thing as an offensive lineman and kind of peeled back towards the sideline, and I put my arms up, and dude ran right into the back of me, and I had the whole crowd booing a singular person. They were booing me, and it was just like, oh my goodness, this was 100. It was a sold out game. Yeah. 102,000 people are just booing, just booing you, not even the team, and then I got reviewed for targeting, and it went in the biggest game of my life so far, in front of 102,000 people. Almost only lasted 6 plays. I mean, I'm looking up at the scoreboard, and they're trying to say like I did intentionally. I mean, I just went and put my arms up and just kind of leaned into just get over there and make the block. And the sideline was hectic, and we already had a bunch of O linemen down that week in practice, and we're trying to figure out who's going to go where, who's going here, who's going there, and thankfully I didn't get ejected, so. Yeah, I'm glad about that, but no, it was definitely an awesome experience. Definitely the most people I've ever played in front of personally, but just so surreal, really. As you hear about all these SEC schools and how big the crowds are, and just to play in front of one is just incredible.
I feel like one of the wildest moments of the game was I think we were punting the ball, or we were on punt return. No, we were on punt return because we were blocking, and we had one of their guys down. Pinned down. Yeah. And apparently I can't remember who it was. One of our players he said he couldn't hear the whistle. That's how loud it was.
It was Miles, I believe.
Somebody like Miles, but had him pinned down, and he literally couldn't hear the whistle, and he was waiting to the play had been over for 5 seconds at least, and he still had him pinned down on the ground. Yeah. And I've never I think that might have been one of the loudest boos we talk about I've heard the entire game.
Oh yeah.
And we knew that their crowd was mad, their coaching staff was mad. We kind of got into a little scuffle. I think one of the funniest moments of that is Coach Walden comes up on the headset. He goes, "Hey, do you think they're mad right now?" And he goes, and everybody's like, "Yeah." All the coaches are like, "Yeah." He goes, "Okay, do you think they'll commit on a trick play right here?" And we're all like, "Let's do it." And he called a trick play. He called a double pass the very next play. Mm-hmm. And he comes off the sideline after we broke the huddle. He looked at me and some of the other players. He was like I thought that was hilarious. I was like, okay, we're going. So that game was awesome. I know we didn't get the win and all that. We got stuffed on the 1 yard line last play of the game, and we had a couple miscues. But like I said, I feel like 2 plays away from it being a 1-score game. And we showed that we deserved to be there, and we could play with anybody. And I feel like that game is what set off the rest of the season. After that game, we showed what kind of team we were, and what we kind of found out, like you said, who our guys were, who's going to step up in the big-time scenarios and those big-time roles, and we were able to find those guys that can help us carry out the rest of the season. Yeah. Starting the next week, we go on a nice little winning streak. We come back home, our first home game. Who was it? Was it
ETSU?
ETSU, and we just absolutely just rolled them. Mm-hmm. And just being able to come back and. Starting the season 0-2, it's hard to come back from, especially after losing bad the first week, and then going and playing hard week 2, I know, but I give credit to our locker room, our guys. We had great leaders in each position group. You guys are doing a great job of helping us stay together as a culture. And culture wins a lot of football games, it could have easily had a lot of guys just man, this, this stinks and this is awful, we're 0-2, we're supposed to go win the conference, but that's not what happened. We had guys come together and kind of, say we kind of rolled our sleeves up and kind of got to work, So I feel like that's what the big deal with our team last year was, is we can find out ways to dig ourselves out and just get ready to go again the next week. And that's one thing I was really, excited to be about, so. Just kind of playing. You said we played ETSU, so that game pretty fun.
It was very fun actually. Me. So this past season was my actual first season playing on defense that much anyway. So it was all new to me, especially the SIU and the Tennessee game. Just playing a game like that was like he said, it was incredible. But the ETSU game, what play I'm thinking about? I'll never forget. It was 3rd down. I think it was 3rd and 8 or something. And we were in a dime package. And the quarterback rolled out to our sideline, and I was like a spy. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take some down. He ran to the sideline, and I just blacked out. I remember just blacking out. And I just tried to kill him on the sideline, sent him flying, bro. I feel like that was the highlight of the whole year for me. It was just an amazing experience. But yeah,
kind of a turning point for you up under the season.
Definitely a turning point.
For us on offense, I think we put up over 40 points. 63 points.
Those are always the fun games when you're scoring a lot of points, scoring every drive and stuff like that. I mean, those are what an offense's dream is, to go out there and just put up points over and over and over again, and have the defense get the ball back for you in 30 seconds and you're moving again. I mean, that game was heck. I think I was out before halftime. That game was, we were scoring, and I think that's the game that Mike DeLello broke the passing record.
Sure.
So it was an awesome game, awesome achievement for him. Super proud to block for that guy. I love that guy to death. So
yeah, Mike was a great player, great leader. I was happy I was able to learn under him, and kind of just see stuff from a different perspective and learn from him. And so that's one of the greatest things I could have ever been a part of. So, but yeah, so kind of moving on to the next week, who was the next week? We've had, was it Stephen F. Austin?
Oh,
yeah, that was, first conference game. So we go down to Texas. I've never been to Texas before.
I haven't either.
Have you ever been to Texas before?
I've never been to that part of Texas, but I've been to Texas before when I was 7 or 8, something like that. But playing there, I will never forget. I'm literally drenched after warm-ups. I've never been so drenched after warm-ups. My position coach was looking at me are you all right, man? I'm like, Coach. I just looked at him like, Coach. We went back in the locker room. I literally took off all my stuff before the game. After warm-ups, you go back in and then we come out as a team.
Oh yeah.
I literally took off all of my stuff, got a towel, and wiped my whole face and back and chest. I'm like, bro, I am about to die out here.
Yeah, that humidity was different.
It's so hot.
Especially we had a little bit of a walk. It wasn't a terrible walk to the locker room, to the field, but when you come out the locker room, and plus it's hot when you walk out and we got our travel suits on, and they pants and jackets, and you're just sweating before you even get to the locker room. I was in there we had our polos. I didn't really, but I normally kept my jacket on because I like the fit. But I'm sweating on the bus. I'm sitting there on the bus, I'm just sweating. Do we have a long bus ride? Sometimes we have a long bus ride, but I don't think that one was too long.
I think it was about 30-ish minutes or something
30,
like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad, but
it was long enough.
I was sweating, and I'm from Florida, so it's hot and humid there.
Yeah.
Texas is definitely a different type of hot and humid. I tell you that because. When I got out there, especially being a bigger guy, I'm already sweating. I'm sweating walking down the street. but no, I just walking out of the field and doing warm-ups and doing your normal stuff, and you're just drenched, and you had guys bring in the big men water. They would just stand there as soon as you got done with the rep, boom, 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 and I tell you, we used to take hydration tests before we'd go out there, and I was hydrated. By the time we started that game, I was 100% like dehydrated. It was so hot, and that game was just one of the wildest games you'll ever be a part of. So,
and talking about, I think some people don't really know. Like you mentioned the hydration test. Like talking about like pounding fluids, I would take like all the Powerades, all the waters I could the night before to my hotel room. Like, because I knew like, cause you know when you sleep at night, like you kind of get dehydrated at nighttime. So if our wake up was at like, if we had like an 8 o'clock wake up, I'm waking up at like 6:50. I'm just pounding water. I'm just like pounding because like you don't want to be that guy that gets on that's in the yellow or the red, you know, like especially on game day, you know. So I was trying my best to make sure that wasn't me, because there was a time during the season. I mean, I'll mention it later, when we had a long bus ride, and we had already practiced that day, but I had completely forgot that we had one that afternoon, and so I slept the whole bus ride. We had like I think it was when we were in southern Utah, and we drove, I think, through Arizona, was it?
Something like that.
Through Arizona to we were in Vegas and drove through Arizona to Utah. I slept the whole way there, and we get there, like hydration test, like right when you get off the bus, I was like, oh snap, like I totally forgot. So I'm sitting there just like pounding water. I couldn't even eat my dinner that night. Like that's how full I was from all the water I drank, because trying to get in the green.
Bad, bro.
So I was in the yellow that night. And like I had to go walk up to Coach Walden during the meal. I was like, Coach, I was in the yellow, but I'm in the green now. I just tested again. I'm good. He goes, okay, thanks, brother. Like, but so I'm in the green, but I can't eat my dinner because I'm so full on all the water and Powerade I just drank.
I know you woke up starving.
Oh, I was so hungry. Like I didn't, we didn't really have any to-go boxes for our dinner, so I was like, I woke up that night. I went to my room hungry. Let's just say that. But
But the highlight of that game was, I'll never forget. Defensively, we were struggling. They scored on an opening drive. They were kind of imposing their will on us, and we were just on the sideline. You know, we always meet after a drive, and we all just looking at each other like, we don't know how we're going to get it done, but we got to figure something out. Like, somebody got to step up, make some plays. And I'll never forget, they got greedy a little bit on offense, and they threw a bomb to Sedarius Dawes' side. I'll never forget him catching that interception. Oh, my God. We was so happy. And then I think offense went down and scored. I think we didn't score that drive. We threw a pick. We threw an interception or something.
We got the interception, and the very next play we threw a pick.
Yeah, we threw a pick.
And y'all were right back on the field.
And we were right back on the field. And I think, what happened, bro? Something happened, bro.
We ended up, we were down 20-7.
Yeah.
And offense wasn't in. Defense was having their struggles too. Yeah. And Sedarius Dawes jumps in front of a route and picks it off for a pick six. And when I tell you, that sideline erupted. Like there was a new life. Like we were dead in the dirt. Yeah. And a new life with pick six, new life just whoof. Yeah. And everyone's jumping up and down on the sideline like, let's go, we're back in it. Mm-hmm. And then the defense goes down and gets a stop, and it was just.
But that changed everything.
Like that was the. Talking about game-changing players and game-changing plays, Sedarius Dawes made a heck of a football play and returned that for a touchdown. And we drove down, and we kicked a field goal, and I think we kicked another field goal, and it was 20-20. We went down and scored a touchdown, and then we missed the extra point to take the lead by one.
Because it was like third down and like 20 something.
Third and like 16.
And JJ got the ball and he made like 4 people miss.
The reason it was third down and 20 is I had a holding play to play before, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, Javon Jackson, just a heck of a running back. I mean,
he took over.
Yeah, he took over that game. I mean, he made my job really easy. We just wanted to impose our will on that team and just run. And they had like one of the top rushing defenses in the conference. Yes. And Javon Jackson had him a heck of a day.
Yeah, it was. It's crazy when teams, like those top teams, they pulled out their black uniforms for us that game. They knew that we were like one of the top teams coming into the new conference, and we all kind of merged. And we were the ASUN, now we're the UAC, I believe is what it was. So we we all ended up merging with them, and they pull out their new black helmets, new black uniforms for the game. Like, they came out in warm-ups, and they didn't even have pads on in warm-ups. Like,
Nope.
So I was like, man, this team really, like, thinks they're about it, you know? So, like, being able to, like, you know, like, to be able to run the ball on the team like we did in the second half, and it just really, you know, like, kind of, you know, like you said, imposed their will on the team. You know, like you said, when Day picked that ball off, like, I've never seen so many people, like, we were dead on the sideline. Like, we were like, nobody's talking, nobody's doing anything. Well, like, when he picked it off and scored, I've never seen so many people just jump up, like, out of their chair, like, I'm saying, like, all right, there's so much positive energy, just like hit like a lightning strike. It was unreal, like how fast it changed like that. So,
like, game-changing plays. I mean, you talk about, like, all football is just momentum shifts.
Oh, man.
That's all it is. I mean, you think about making plays and stuff like that. Whoever makes a big-time play in a big-time moment, that's going to sway the momentum your way. And their whole team's going to rally behind it. So, I mean, that's kind of what we did. And then I know you want to talk about that safety at the end.
Oh, man.
It's to what, 2020, and we get stuffed on the O-line. We go for it. We get stuffed on the 1 yard line. It's like, dang, man. It's like we could really put them away here. And we get stuffed, and they get the ball back with, I don't know, roughly like not too long left. But
How did we get, I'm trying to figure out, how did we get up by 2? We
The
got up by
safety.
2.
I feel like
it was 2020.
It was 2020, and then y'all got the safety.
Safety the next play.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
about. Okay. Yeah, so we like, man, we got to get a stop. I mean, it is what it is. We got to do what we have to do. But I think Raleigh pinned him back deep.
No, we went for it on 4th down and got stuffed.
At the goal
At the
line.
1, yep.
See, I don't even remember. So they get the ball.
It's a
like,
long season.
Yeah, so we're thinking like, hey, we just get a safety, you know. We gonna like keep them back, you know what I mean? So I think it was like, what was it, like second and it was second and mid, and I think they tried to just run the ball like up, you know what I'm saying, get out of the end zone.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I think we were like running like a blitz. And I came in, I think Corey Chapman came in on the outside, and I just remember, who was that on the boundary? I remember Javon Young, like, just controlling, like, the guard, and the dude tried to make a jump cut, and guard the ball in the middle. I remember him just trying to make a jump cut, and he just slipping. And I looked at the ref. I put my hands up like this. I'm like, it got to be a safety. And then he just ran over there. He you know how referees are. They try to make it dramatic. They try to make it look dramatic. And he did it, man, bro. You talking about the sideline erupted after the interception. We was like, yeah, we got this game. Yeah,
the safety's like,
this the game.
we get points, and we get the ball back.
We got the ball back. We're driving. We bust a couple long runs, and we get down to a point where we go to the sideline, and Coach Walden's standing over there. He's like, it's like 4th down again, and we're right on the edge of field goal range, and if we get it, we can put the game away and run the clock out. Thanks. But no, obviously we had to make it dramatic. Yeah. And Coach Walden said, can y'all get this? It's like 4th and 1, 4th and 2. Can y'all get this? And we're like, yeah, Coach, we got it. Don't worry about it. We got this. I mean, that was a one-time thing on the goal line. We got this. And we get stuffed. And all they need is a field goal to win, and they're on the 40-yard line.
That's right.
And we're praying that the defense comes up clutch. We're like, please. I'm like, if we lose, that's on us. So we told Coach Walden we can get it. We could have punted them down there and got them. And defense gets a major stop. They're like they're on their plus side territory, like deep 40, and a 4th down, and Guardy Paul sticks his big old palms up, bats the ball down, and we'll go crazy.
That's so awesome.
I will never forget that drive. Ever.
Yeah. So what was the final score? Like 22-20? 22-20.
Yes,
There's
bro.
one of the dramatic games that we had.
It was a thriller.
Like that, I think we had at least 4 or 5 dramatic games like that all year. At least. So it was crazy too. That plane ride home, it was fun.
Oh man.
The plane rides are fun on the way there. They're even more fun on the way back after you get a win. Yeah. It's like, so on the way there, guys are just kind of serious, kind of getting ready, like kind of amping up for, it's Friday for the game. But on the way back, though, after you get a big-time win like that, like it's something about plane rides, man. Every time we went on a plane ride this year, we had a dramatic win, and it was definitely.
You definitely don't want to go back on a loss. I mean, those are the worst type of plane ride. You talk about good and bad plane rides. Those are the worst type of plane ride.
Talking about a bus ride being sad on the way back, a plane ride on the way back, though, like you gotta. because it's a long process to get on the plane. You know, like get everybody boarding their bags, all the equipment.
It takes a couple hours.
It takes a couple hours just to, we get on the plane pretty fast, but we're sitting there on the runway for about an hour and a half, maybe, just sitting there waiting. So like, the wind definitely made that go by a lot faster and made it a lot of fun.
The funniest part of the ride was on the way back. Corey Chapman, like the Snapchat filters, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Coach Walden was talking to us, like trying to tell us to listen for the flight attendant, and he was talking, and like how dramatic he is. Corey,
he got up on the intercom and
yelling. Corey said, "Come here, coach." He said, "Tell him what you said." He had the Snapchat filter on. Oh my gosh, everybody was laughing. So
it was like one of those gremlin things.
He couldn't see it. He couldn't see it. All he saw was the camera in his face. But everybody behind him and on the whole plane saw what was happening on the phone. And his
wish we
face
could show them the video right now. But it's so
that was funny, man. Like I said, we get to have fun after wins. You celebrate wins and you get to enjoy those a little bit longer than losses. And it made the plane ride back a lot smoother and a lot easier to sleep on the way back. So that was fun. So we go down to Texas and get the first conference win of the year. Then the next game was Gardner-Webb the next game.
At home.
At home, kind of like another ETSU, wasn't it? Like we rolled them pretty good.
Gardner-Webb last year was a playoff team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they had beaten EKU because EKU had gotten in over us the year before, and we were coming back for vengeance. And they Gardner-Webb stomped them in the playoffs, and we're like, okay, this is really one of our first big tests, versus a playoff team. And we go down, or they come to us, and we poured it on.
Yeah, we rolled them pretty good, and offense was hitting, defense was hitting on cylinders.
Corey Chapman, I was so proud of this guy, bro, because he's came a long way. The season prior, he was kind of in the rotation. Felt like he should have been playing more. But that game, man, he showed up and showed out. Had a pick six. Yeah. Like every time he hit somebody, like they were flying like 3 yards down the field.
Yeah.
Like it was
that pick six, it really set the tone for us too, because it was a close game, maybe the first quarter.
Yeah.
And I talked about momentum. Like Corey picked it, took her for 6.
Yeah.
There was no turning back after that game. I think the final score was 41-14.
It was.
And we just kept going. Yeah. We were on a roll. We were getting hot.
Yep. Offense was starting to find our rhythm. Defense stoning teams, and that was a big time win for us. Because we talked about, like playing them before the season started. We wanted to find a way to knock a team out of the playoffs. That was a playoff team year before that, and I remember on my list, Gardner-Webb was one of those teams that I wrote down, and so us being able to do that to them was a big step in the right direction, which led us to a lot of success in the future. So we play them hard, we get the win there. What was the next week? It was
Lindenwood, correct?
Lindenwood.
Yeah,
Lindenwood. Same thing. We go down to Lindenwood and
that game was crazy.
Take care of business there. And
the craziest thing about Lindenwood, though,
was that
they had a whole student section right there in the end zone.
Yep.
And we come out, we score. It should have been 35, but the next play in the second quarter, we scored a touchdown. We scored 35 points like that in the snap of a finger. And that whole student section was filled. They were like, oh, the Govs are coming in. Whole student section was filled, and they were gone by the second quarter.
It was touchdown, pick, touchdown, pick. Like, it was just back to back to back.
We had like 4 or 5 picks as a defense that game. It was crazy.
Like, that was a crazy game. And then this next week,
who was the next week?
Southern Utah.
Southern Utah.
Southern Utah.
Southern Utah might have been it's a top nominee for the craziest game that I've ever been a part of. Like, leading up to the game, everything was so awesome. For us, we got to leave a day early. We got to fly out. We actually stayed in Vegas one night on a Thursday night. We had our practice. We had our no sweat in Vegas, and we didn't. Of course, we weren't going to get to go see the attractions or nothing like that. But it was still cool to see the sights and say we got to go to the Raider Stadium. That was really cool.
That was really cool.
We got to tour the whole stadium. That was really got to go in the locker room, go down the field, and see what the players experience on game day. Got to go to the manager suites, the owner suites. That was really cool. But they harped on it. All we kept hearing about was the elevation all week. And like you couldn't really tell Thursday night. Thursday we're kind of just, it's our no sweat day. Like you can't really tell Thursday. Yeah. Quarterbacks have fun on Thursday because normally, whenever y'all are like walking through special teams, like we kind of go through our QB drills with our GA Miguel, but we didn't have enough players, so he had to run a scout team. So what we did was we went on the baseball field, and we hit our couple drills, stuff like that. But after we hit our drill, we were basically playing games on the baseball field. Like we were like the most non-serious like practice. Like we're trying our best to stay quiet so make sure y'all couldn't hear us on the field. But we had the D lineman on the pavement right behind us. We're like chucking footballs on the baseball field. We're basically playing some type of disc golf, but with footballs basically. Yeah. We're having a good old time. We're like, man, like let's hope we come out and play good. Let's hope we come out and play good. But we ended up, Mike had a really good game. But so what elevation didn't really hit us until that Friday morning. And I know you said that you were kind of feeling that.
Man, I only felt it in the PAP, the warm up. So we were doing what is it? High knee pull, forward lunge 10. Yeah. I did like the third rep. I said, wait a minute. I said, yeah, I see what they were talking about. Yeah. And then after that, it's like I kind of like got control of my breathing, and then I kind of controlled it throughout the whole practice. So I was fine after that, but.
Did it really hit you at all, like during practice or anything?
I mean, it definitely hit me. It definitely hit me during the game, especially. Oof. But me being from Jacksonville, Florida, I mean, I'm at like 20, maybe, if that. Yeah. And going up a mile in the sky. I mean, that is just one of the like craziest like differences. Yeah. Like, just like it's so like heavy in Florida, and then up there it is so light. You're like, trying to breathe. Not breathe. And they had bought us like the oxygen things you put on your mouth. Yeah. And I'm over here on the sideline. Man, trying to like, and just like.
I was even using them too.
Yeah, I mean.
Bro,
it was like really bad.
Yeah.
But that game though, it made it all worth it.
Oh my goodness.
In the end, I mean.
First let's talk about like when we pull up to the stadium. First off, it's a beautiful scenery. They got the mountains in the background. Amazing. Like so we were in 3 different time zones in like 2 days. Yep. So we flew to Vegas. We were in the Central Time Zone. Then we were in Pacific.
Then Mountain Time.
And then one day in Pacific, we drive up in the mountains into the Mountain Time Zone. Like we're in 3, so our bodies are like trying their best to adjust to the different scenarios around us, But like, so we pull up to the stadium, and it's just beautiful, Like it felt amazing, like the beautiful clear skies, mountains. They had a nice little stadium, but our walk to the locker room though was like over a mile long. It felt like.
It really did.
Like I'm getting off the bus, like going to the locker room for the first time. I'm like, this is crazy. Like we have to walk this far at halftime. Like I hope not. Like. Yeah. But luckily, they ended up sticking us in a classroom in a big open facility, like right there on next to the stadium. So that was cool of them, to be able to help us out like that.
Like think you're on the Austin P campus, and you're walking like to the racetrack up there on Wilma Rudolph.
Exactly.
Like that's what it felt like.
That's what it felt
Just
like.
think like that. I mean, that was extremely long. Thank goodness they put us in another like a one right next to the stadium. Yeah. But that walk, it was very like long.
It kind of felt like a high school game. They were like, you're in the locker room, like, all right, you got to bring your pads with you and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, like I haven't done that since high school, like, hey. Yeah. So I mean, but you adapt, and the game comes out, and rough start for both sides of the ball, like. Ooh. Like offense wasn't really hitting on anything. I don't believe we scored in the first half at all.
We did.
We did.
So what happened was we went down and we scored first.
That's right. We did score first. And then we had a punt return, did we not?
Yeah, we went and scored first, and then they went right down and scored.
Yeah.
And then we go back and forth, and then Cam Thomas ends up getting a punt return.
Huge.
Yes.
Big time punt return for us.
It was right before halftime, right?
Somewhere. Yeah, I think it was like right in the second quarter. Yeah.
Early second
and then right after, these guys, like Southern Utah just goes on a spree of touchdowns, like coming left and right, and they go down, score, and then they go score again, and then right before halftime, we're down. It's 21 to 14 at the time. It's 21 to 14 at the time. Like, okay, well, defense gets stopped. We're good. Yeah. And we go down, and they throw a Hail Mary, and the first one gets batted down. We're like, okay, good. There's a yellow flag on the field.
Javon Young.
And was it roughing the passer? Or?
Javon Young jumped offside.
He jumped off. We had a guy jump off sides, and we're just like, no.
Well, in your mind, you're like, you know what? It's a Hail Mary. The chance of them catching this ball are like slim to none. You know, like the amount of times Hail Marys work, like you don't see it happen a whole lot.
Like you would think that, but then when
it happens,
the guy dropped back again, he threw a bomb, and I'm looking in the air. I'm like, you know, it would be our luck if this guy catches this. It would be our luck if this guy catches this. Yeah. And, dude, we bat it down. It goes right into his arms. And we're just like, no. And, like, when I tell you the whole sideline's mouth just dropped to the floor, we're just like, because they were getting the ball at halftime. So you're just like, you got to be kidding me.
That was the maddest Coach Walden has ever seen me. I was furious. Like I wanted to, like,
I think I remember you at halftime, bro. You was in there.
Man.
You know, at halftime, they could bring us snacks, stuff like that. They'd bring us cups, and
it was
let's just
silent.
Say there were a couple tables that were flipped over at halftime when Sam Howard came up in there. You know, like there was a couple cups being thrown across.
And we were in. They put us in their like study hall area for their athletes, and I mean, it was just like. At halftime, it was silent. Like, at least the O-line wise, we're all sitting there. We're just like, you know what? We're all right. We're all right. We're all right. And the coaches are coming up, and they're just like, y'all need to be talking to each other. Y'all need to do this, that, and the other. And the funniest thing, like before the game, I scrolled through YouTube or whatever, and I somehow come across Southern Utah's head coaching press conference to talk about. He was talking about the Austin P. Gus. I was like, all right. He was talking about, Sam Howard's so good, Mike DeLello, this, that, and the other. And the head coach straight up said, he was like, their offensive line, they're serviceable. They can they just get the job done. And we use that the whole week, the word serviceable. Yeah. And we're losing, we're down. I'm like, dang, we sure are looking serviceable right now. And we come out in the second half, and we go down. We're like, all right, defense is going to get stopped. And then they drove down, scored a touchdown. We're down 21 points. And when I tell you, the sideline is just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, everyone's just like, this can't be happening. We travel all this way. This plane ride home is going to, like, be terrible. And we come out, and Mike DeLello, our quarterback, and a few of the other guys, we're just like, we got this. We're good. Just go out there, score one touchdown at a time, get going. And we rattle off, after they score, we go down, drive, takes us like 16 plays, go down, score a touchdown on fourth down. And then defense, Sam, you go and stuff them. They get a stop, and then we get back on the field. We're like, all right, we're only down by 14 now. Let's do it. Yeah. Go down, score. And then defense gets a stop again, go down, score, and we're tied up. I mean, when I tell you the sideline was that momentum shifts erupted when we tied the ball game. We're like, oh, this is 0-0. We're good to go. I mean, that's a big thing Coach Walden used. It's like 0-0. I mean, come in at halftime 0-0. I mean, no one's winning or losing. You just got to win the second half. So we come out, and it's tied, I think, 35.
Yeah.
And then we get out there, and defense stops them again. We get out there. And then we go 3 and out, so we're like, oh no, we're losing the momentum at the wrong time. We're losing the momentum at the wrong time. And then right after that, defense goes and gets a stop again. I'm like, defense is playing their behinds off for us. Yep. We need to go down and score and win this thing. And we go down, and I mean, the touchdown before, let me revert back a little bit. The touchdown before,
the double pass.
We ran a double pass to a wide receiver, and he almost got tripped up in the backfield, and it didn't happen. But he launched the ball down the field, and Trey Shackelford caught it, and the referee called like a touchback. I mean, he was so confused. He thought we punted the ball away.
He thought the other team picked the ball off or something.
I'm
just like, I mean, that was one of the hardest hits I have ever seen. I was standing right there on the sideline, like just watching. I was like, I was yelling him to run. I was like, just run. And he just takes one step and he just chucks it. But like talking about one of the loudest hits I've ever heard in my life. It was helmet to helmet, boom. I'm just like, wow. I didn't even look at the ball. I'm looking at Goody like, Goody, are you all right?
It took him a second
he's
to get
looking,
up.
He's looking like this.
I seen the video, man. He was like, he got up and he stumbled back, and like he was looking like trying to listen to what everybody was saying. I don't even know if he knew he remembered he threw the ball. Like he was just
like the ball couldn't have been
he was
thrown more
woozy.
perfect.
Yeah, he was like woozy. Like the ball was like right on time.
I'm pretty sure he threw it 50 yards off one foot.
About a 50-yard jumping out of bounds.
Falling out of bounds. Like it was one of the craziest throws I've ever seen. Like in person, up close. You know. So, like you said, like we're tied. We go into double overtime. Was it double overtime? I believe it was double overtime.
Yeah,
wasn't
because
it?
Mike went down and scored a touchdown, and then they
scored on
them
us.
with like 2 minutes left, drove down real fast and scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
And we're like, dang, man, we're in overtime. All right, it's go time now. You got to go.
Yep.
And we got the ball first.
First
So we're like, all right, here we go. Get out there. I'm like, we're just going to score again. We're good. Let's do it. And I think the first play, threw a pick.
Ball gets tipped. And
Yeah, it got tipped up and threw a pick.
Sick.
And we
like,
were all sick because
no
we were
way.
just like, we came all this way.
yeah,
all this way. Because, I mean, when you start the overtime period, you're like already in field goal range, like chip shot type field goal range for the most part.
Right.
And they go down and they get really close and they go line up for the chip shot field goal, and we were all just sitting there praying on the sideline. We're all like linked arms, and we're just like, I didn't even want to look. And I'm like down on my knees. I'm like, please, something, God, please.
Yeah.
And I close my eyes and I hear the ball thump, and I open them, and all you hear is boom, right off the upright, and everyone freaks out. We're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So then we flip sides and get the ball back, or they have to start with the ball.
We went out first. Yeah, we went out first.
And the defense stones them, sacks them.
Did they get a field goal or did
They kicked
the field goal and made it that time?
Yep. So we're like, all right. Yeah. I mean, it's win or go home now, even though we had the best kicker in college football with Maddox. I mean, his nickname's Automatics for a reason. Yeah. But we go down there and we get to third down, and it's like 3rd and 10. And we're like, oh, gosh, let's make this an easy field goal for Maddox so we can just put it through and go to second overtime if we don't get the first down. And they sent a blitz, and they're twisting and stuff like that. And the running back lost the running back in the the linebacker lost the running back in the scruffle. Yeah. And Javon Jackson slips out and tosses to him, get the first down. And then we ran the ball, and then the next play. Man. It was the most satisfying play of this year. This was the game of the year for us. For sure. The most satisfying play of the year. Mike drops back and hits Trey Goodman on a slant. And the linebacker bit up and didn't cover it because they were playing zone. And Goody catches it, and turns upfield and gets in the end zone. And when I tell you the whole sideline rushed the field and stuff like that, we were freaking out. And everyone, we stayed on the field for at least 45 minutes, just hugging each other like, oh my goodness. And then we all get back in the place they had. It wasn't even the locker room. the little thing they had us, and they had a whiteboard in there. Yeah. And then we're at the word serviceable on there. And we put in quotation marks. Yeah. And we left it there, and we were all celebrating in the locker room and stuff like that. And I think after the game, a couple of the O-linemen, and I did it too, we ran onto the field because they were coming on the field. And I don't recommend this to anybody, but we tried to find the head coach, and we were like, yeah, we're serviceable. And he was definitely mad. He might try to take it out on us this next year coming up. But, it was one of the most satisfying wins as a team I think Austin Peay probably has ever had in its history, probably. I mean, that game was insane. So
just like you said, like we come into halftime, literally everything that could have went wrong. You know, like they threw a Hail Mary, they got it, they come out open and drive score, and we just kind of like
I'm just looking like
okay, you know, like just take one step at a time. You know, we get a touchdown, defense gets to stop. We get a touchdown, defense gets to stop, and we were able to, you know, to weather the storm, you know, and come out with a win. So that, like you said, that might have been the game of the year. Like
that game was the epitome of trust in the process.
Yeah.
Like literally going into the locker room, I had did all that yelling, slamming stuff, and all this, and we go out on the field, and we let them drive down the field and score. I'm just like, okay. Like, what are we doing at this point? Like, do we really come this far for this?
Yeah. Definitely a lot to take away from that game, you know. Like, it's like they say, it's easier to coach off a win than a loss, you know. So, like, we were able to get the corrections made, and like I said, like, it's an emotional win, you know. So, especially traveling all the way out there to Utah and having to fly back and get ready for another game the next week, you know. Who we play the next week? Was it
North Alabama? Then it was North Alabama.
North Alabama homecoming, yeah. Like they were, like I said, another conference team. They're always going to play us good, and we got up big on them. They try to make a push, and then we beat North Alabama, and then we go to EKU, which is another crazy game in itself. Another overtime game.
Parker McKinney, man, I gotta tip my hat to him.
Yeah.
Man. You gotta give respect where it's due. Like he put that team on his back, honestly.
Yep.
He really only targeted one receiver. If we want to be to be honest, he only targeted one receiver. But that number 3, I forgot his name, but he had a heck of a game. We were up. I'll never forget. We were up the last drive of the game, of regulation anyway.
We just went down and scored.
We just went down to score. We took the lead. We're like, okay, yeah, we closed the game.
I think there was like what?
Bro, it was
30 seconds.
30 seconds, yeah.
Something crazy.
Seconds, 30-something seconds. I think like 34 seconds.
And they drove like 80 yards.
Bro, like every ball he threw was on target. Like it was like getting out of bounds. Like they were like just controlling the clock. I'm like, bro, what are we doing? Can we get a sack somewhere or something? And then they got down to like the 4 or 5 yard line. And we're like, all we gotta do.
Like 7 seconds left.
Yo, we like, all we gotta do, we just gotta get a stop. We just gotta make sure like they don't get in the end zone. I'll never forget, they ran like, I think double slants or something. Or like a dude ran like a dig or something. And he caught the ball. And I turned around, I seen him catch it. I said, no.
Like, it's crazy because we talk about momentum. Like they literally had all the momentum going into overtime. You know, like I'm sitting on the sideline next to Mike. I'm like, yeah, this game's over. You know, like our defense is getting ready to get a stop, and they get a touchdown, and they get the ball. They get the ball first, right, in overtime.
Yeah, we won the toss.
They literally had just went for 2 and got the 2. If they didn't get the 2, then.
Yeah, and like, you know, they got all the momentum going into overtime. But they just scored on our defense. They got 2-point conversion, but then our defense comes out and bows their necks and gets a huge stop.
Yeah, they kicked the field goal.
Kicked the field goal.
Yeah,
and then we come out, first play?
Goodness.
It's first play, and we score a touchdown. Like,
no, I don't think
was it first play?
It was like 3rd down, and we needed a first down.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so good at getting the 3rd down and having to get.
Like just critical.
I mean, our offense is so good at doing that.
It's crazy because the play we ran, we had already scored on that play twice. That Aquaman.
Yes.
Yeah,
Aquaman.
and I mean, I mean, first play ran, second play incomplete, and then we're getting like 3rd down, and it's like 3rd and 10. I mean, we basically started at the 25 already, so we got down there, and it's 3rd down, and we're like, oh, well, we just gotta like pass pro and pass block the best we possibly can. Don't let Mike get hit. Let him throw the ball, and he rips one to Trey Shackelford, and Trey like bounces off like 4 or 5, like 3 or 4 guys, and like falls into the end zone. Like it was the craziest thing ever.
Another little inside story, like, you know, we have our breakfast that morning with all your position coach. Yeah. So Coach Walton likes to do on game day. He likes to get a workout in before before we get our. So he said he was hitting a workout in the hotel, and like at the workout area you could look, had a bunch of glass doors, and like he looked across the street was a movie theater where we stayed at. And what was one of the movies, like, you know how they have like movie posters like posted outside the theaters, like the movie Aquaman was staring him directly in the face that morning. And sure enough, that afternoon, just a couple hours later, we scored 21 points on a play called Aquaman. So he was like, that was my sign to call that play. So I mean, it's crazy what kind of conversations you have with your head coach, you know, before the game even starts, you know, like hours before the game starts, and to see that turn out the way it did, you know, it's just wild, you know. That was probably the second game for us, craziest game for us, you know, like.
And then like games like that, you don't even want to rush the field or like just go crazy. It's just like, thank God, like
you're just like
we won, like we did it. Like
if you really think about it, like if we won that game, we would have, like, that next week, EKU was playing Central Arkansas.
Yeah.
And we needed them to win. And that was the crazy game that everyone saw in Sports Center where they caught the Hail Mary at the end of the game. EKU had it in the bag.
That was crazy.
And they had the Hail Mary at the end of the game. And we would have clinched that week. We would have we got the hats and everything. Yeah. We would have clinched that week. We had to win that ball game. Had to.
Like,
or we would have been in a three-way tie, and there was no shot of us winning.
Yeah,
and we won in overtime. And then the next game was Utah Tech. And I tell you, I mean, their record does not show how good of a football team they have. They're a pass, like, drop back Mike Leach, like, throw the ball around the field all day long. And they kept it close with us for a while, and we ended up pulling away at the end. Mm-hmm. So, I mean.
Going throughout the week. We knew they were going to throw the ball.
Yep.
I'm practicing, getting ready, doing vision and break drill, like working on it, trying to perfect it, working on my breaks, breaking on the front hand.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I was like the overhang to the field. And I knew that they were going to, like, every time I get over there, I'm like, they're probably going to throw a dropout to one to the field. So I'm like, okay, bet. So I drop back. I see the front hand come off. Oh, my God, I broke so hard. I literally caught the football and was about to run, and I snatched it like to tuck. I literally snatched it right out of my hand. You talk about Tennessee, you talk about the booing, you talk about all that. But when everyone saw me drop that pick, everybody was like, oh. All you hear is, oh. I'm like, oh my God, bro.
Not to say we looked at this as a trap game, because I don't like that. Like,
no, I don't like that either.
But like, that's kind of what it was, to put it in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, because like everyone in the conference was like, oh, this is the last team in the conference. So I mean, we didn't look at it that way. No. We were like, we got to win this. The next week we're competing for a championship. Like we got to do it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think a lot of people outside of our building looked at it that way.
Yeah, they did.
And I mean, we came out, and I mean, it was a tough one. It was a grind, but I mean, they're definitely a really good football team, and they put it to us. They really did. I mean, they're at number 3 they had on the D line, and I mean, they were a really good football team. That's a guy you playing for. That's a guy that's definitely going to be playing in the league here soon.
Yeah. Hey, we gotta go to Utah Tech this year.
Yeah. So I'm sure they'll be looking for some revenge there. But the game that we all had circled on our calendar was Central Arkansas. We had it circled on our calendar ever since the schedule came out, because they took it to us last year, the year before that. Stakes were even higher. We're competing for an outright conference championship, which LCP has never had before. It's our ticket to the playoffs, and so like stakes were at an all-time high, and we were able to come out. I mean, it was sure no easy rollover, like came down to the last possession of the game. Like y'all ended up making a stop at the end of the game, and
I'll never forget, because everybody was like saying, "Why you not talking? Why you acting like that? Why are you doing this?" And I was just like so locked in, because like you said, when I saw the schedule for our upcoming season in the spring, like around this time last year, I'm like, okay, cool. And I seen all the conference games back to back like that. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a rematch against Central Arkansas for the championship at home.
You literally told Coach Walden.
I told Coach Walden that in the hallway.
He's like, we're gonna have a championship here at Fort Terrace Stadium for the championship.
I said, Coach, picture confetti just flying everywhere, running around with signs.
Yep.
This was like in fall camp when I told him that, and he was like, hey, he's there one day at a time. Like, yeah, Coach. But throughout that week, I didn't really talk. I didn't really say too much. I'll never get. I want you to tell it from your perspective.
So the week prior, I mean, we clinched the championship.
Basically.
Like we didn't clinch our playoff spot, but we clinched the championship. Like we were gonna get it. We were getting rings. Everybody was getting rings. And they gave us this championship shirt. And I'm walking through the building with it, and Sam was like, "Man, take that off." And I was like,
"What?
What?" I was like, "Why?" He's like, "We ain't won it yet." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. You're right. Yeah. So I went and took it off, and he apologized a little bit later. He felt bad. I was like, "Man," I was like, "You're right, man." I was like, "But I'm gonna tell you right now, I got all the confidence in the world we're going to win this football game.
Told me
I did tell him that. I said, I got all the confidence in the world we're going to win this football game.
Like, we knew, like, it doesn't matter, you get hurt, whatever. Like, we have to get this done. We have to. I don't care what happens, we got to get it done.
It was crazy, you know, because like you said, they really took it to us the year before that, and all the stakes. And I just remember after the game, you know, we had all the memories, you know, like being on the field, like all the fans on the field, and we got these hats. They were passing these hats out. I was trying to grab as many of them as I could, you know. And I remember President Corey out there. Somehow I saw President Corey walking around with a cigar in his mouth. So I was like,
I mean, I don't know how, but a bunch of
cigars as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. I seen everyone with cigars. I'm like, where y'all get those?
I
they're passing those out?
We knew, like, me and Cedarius before the game, we were like, yeah, we definitely doing cigars after once we win.
I know. I was like,
we were speaking it into existence. Like, we're gonna go get those.
I'm like looking around. I'm like, they're passing these out too.
I know. I was trying to follow it. I was trying to follow myself, and they were like, "Oh, we're all out." I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "Dang, I wanted one too." But
it was awesome.
But that was awesome though, man. Getting the outright conference championship, repeating back to back. You know, like you said, it kind of punched our ticket to the playoffs. You know, I know the playoffs wasn't how we wanted it to turn out. You know, like last second loss on a last second field goal. You know,
a real moment, huh?
Yeah, like it's crazy. You know how like you go on a 9-game winning streak, and you feel like you got all the momentum. You're playing your best ball when it matters, and at the last second, you know, like they kick a field goal, and at that time the season's over. You know, like they say, all good things come to an end, though, and like there's a lot of good things we take away from that season. You know, like we get rings. You know, I get my third ring, my third ring.
I got two.
I got two.
I got my third one. So
looking for a third one like you.
Yeah. So I mean, like I don't think I've ever been part of a locker room that was so close as we were that year, you know, like it just felt different, you know. I felt we went through a lot as a family, you know, like had a tragic loss in the off season, but like I feel like that just made us even closer, you know, like we were playing for something bigger than ourselves, and JC, you know, and you know we were playing for him and his family, you know, like they're amazing people, and we were able to put together one of the best seasons in Austin Peay history, you know, and we wanted to go farther in the playoffs and stuff like that, but like, you know, these are memories that we'll have the last time. We'll be living to tell these stories, these games, the Central Arkansas, the Utah Tech games, and EKUs for as long as we can remember, you know. And
he was definitely with us that whole season.
Yeah,
man,
JC was with us that whole season. It was awesome. Like throughout the whole year, like his family and his dad would. Like we'd always, after the game we won, we'd have a stone and we'd paint and Coach Walden would go up and paint over their logo, and the player of the game would go down and break it open. And just after winning that championship versus Central Arkansas, we had his father come in, and Coach Walden painted that thing up, and we were all so excited for him to break the stone on behalf of JC, and it was just an amazing moment. But he was definitely with us through the ups and downs, especially that first game. And I think, like, because it shocked the whole college football world. Like when that happens, like it doesn't just especially hurts your team, but just everybody in the country is like, that could happen to us. Like you never know, like when it could be taken away from you. And SIU had put up his immemorial thing, and I mean I think that just hit hard to a lot of people, and it was just like, dang man, like he should be here with us. And but he was with us through this whole season, and through the ups, the downs, the crazy wins. I mean everything seemed to go our way, and he was looking down on us, and it definitely helped go everything went our way, and I'm glad we got the ring for him and his family. So
I didn't really get a chance to know him that well, you know, because he just came in the summer, but I do remember he picked me off in a 7-on-7. I was like, wow, that kid broke on that ball really fast. You know, that kid's gonna be good. You know, I didn't really get a chance to, you know, like grow a very strong relationship with him, you know, because we only had him for a short amount of time. But like you said, like we were able to play for something bigger than ourselves, and he was definitely with us the whole season. You just felt his presence, you know. Like I wore the same number as him, and I was happy to be able to represent him and his family that way. And like I said, his family are amazing people, you know, and for us to be able to do that for them is something that they're going to remember for a long time too, you know. So it was awesome to be able to be a part of that. And it just makes the story of the Austin Peay 2023 season just even better than what it could have been, and yeah, we definitely had our community behind us. That's why we're so thankful to be a part of a great city in Clarksville that supports us when we go through tragedies like that, and that are with us every step of the way, help support us, and they're there for us every Saturday. They fill out Fort Terrace Stadium, and they're a big reason why we win those home games. Like we won. During the regular season, we were undefeated at home. Outside of the playoff game, we won every game at home this year, and we try to make it the toughest environment to play in college football. And so there's not a whole lot of cities that want to do that for a college football team, and that's one thing that I'm happy to be a governor, and I'm excited for what the future holds, and I'm just happy to be a Clarksvillian. That's what some people say. So, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Locker Room Talk. We're so happy that you guys are enjoying the episodes. Please stay tuned, and we'll be back for more.
For current and exclusive content, subscribe to CDE Lightband, connecting you at the speed of light.